All right, we're ready to start. Hello and welcome, friends and family of the May nights and June days classes. My name is Carl Jackson. I'm the Career Service Director here at the school, and it is my pleasure now to introduce to you our graduates. Feel free to clap as they come down the aisle. Okay, starting off with May nights, unable to attend is Anthony Doman, and also from May nights, unable to attend, Sherelle Jones. So let's give them a quick round of applause. Okay. Now, before I get to June days, I'd like to announce or introduce to you our staff. Again, I'm the Career Service Director. We've got Tavares Porter, who is our financial aid representative. On the education side, we've got Kim Lucatorto, Krista Garza, where's she at? She's back there, and Emily Petty. And also from admissions, we've got Nicole Calcagno and Sarah McWilliams. All right. Coming up now is our graduating class. Music? Okay. First off, unable to attend is Crystal Archie. Next is Ryan Cole. Keep on coming. Graduates, walk to the front, grab one of the chairs up front here. Next up is Salvatore Corsino. Next, Amy De La Cruz. Next, Angel Delgado. Alicia Fonseca. Anthony Carl Garnello Jr. That's a name. Our next graduate, Kashonda Harvard. Next is Christopher Cachoco. And please welcome Ashley Krause. Next is Rosalinda Manrique. Unable to attend is Jacob Mathis and Ashley McClintock. Next is Valerie Marie Mena. Next is Jacob Alexander Null. Next we have McKinley Pierce. Also unable to attend is Alicia Ryan. Robert S. Tatka. Jeremy M. Wingle. And last but not least, Walter A. Wicks, the fourth. Let's give a round of applause for all of our graduates. All right, guys, we've spent some quality time together over the last year, especially over the last few weeks. And you guys know what has to be done now, right? The leads are out there, the jobs are out there, the opportunities are there for you guys to do it. It's just a matter of grabbing them, getting something that ultimately interests you, and go for it. Get used to the word no, get used to rejection. That's just the way it works. You're not going to get every opportunity, but you've got to keep working towards your goal. Don't get discouraged. Don't put off your job search. I mean, that's the biggest thing I can let you guys know is always allot at least so many hours per week that you're going to devote to your job search. You can't just push it on like you would when you're doing your bills. I'll do them tomorrow, I'll do them tomorrow. When it comes to your career, that should be your priority. That should be the first thing on your mind each and every week. So carve out that day, whenever it is, and just devote it to your career search. I'm here to help you guys. Stay in touch with me. I love talking with you guys, not only while you're here, but also once you've graduated. I can't help you unless you tell me you need some help. And by staying in touch, we can all work together towards your individual goal. There's stuff that comes up. People call our school all the time about opportunities. So normally, with the gray hair on my head, my memory may be a little short, but the people that talk to me most often, they're the ones I typically think of when an opportunity comes by. So don't be shy, don't disappear, because if you disappear, I just assume you gave up. And please don't give up. You guys worked too hard and accomplished too much over the last 12 months to just give up. All right, so just like any other job search, just like any other professional career type thing, you guys made the commitment to come here, you got through it, now make the commitment to get that job. And again, stay in touch, okay? Okay, okay. All right, it's now my pleasure to introduce our campus director, Mr. Bill Natale.
Well, hi, and I'm pleased to see the smiling faces of the graduates. A couple of you have dropped by my office. Thank you. That was very nice. And it's always good to see parents and friends here as well. It's a real pleasure for me today to send a lot of you off into the world of broadcasting because I think some of you have not only worked hard, but you've been very innovative in what you've done. You're working on some great projects. I think a few of you are already involved in commercial work, which is great. And so keep it up. And as Carl notes, don't give up. The first job, the very first job you get is always the toughest. I know for myself, it took me over a year to get a job in broadcasting, but I didn't give up, and I kept going at it, and then I got a job, believe it or not, at WGN Television, but I knew it was only a short-lived job, 9 months, and I didn't give up after that. I went to work in a small market TV station and just kept working at it, and had the pleasure of working for NBC, ABC, Fox, PBS networks, as well as local stations. So you can, it's a great career. It's a great opportunity to get into a fascinating career. As my father said to me once, and he was a fireman, he came out to one of the ball games where I was a cameraman for WGN in center field, and we had a beer afterwards, and he said, I don't believe it, you get paid for actually being at ball games. This is just beyond my comprehension. And I said, but you're happy for me, right? And he goes, yeah, I'm happy for you. No, you did what you wanted to do. You wanted to get into this business, you did. And we didn't have any connections in my household. There were no connections to anybody in radio and TV. So I know you can do it if you stick to it. But my pleasure today also is to introduce to you our commencement speaker, who has been in the business of not only being an actor and in the media business, but also being a teacher. Harry Lennix has been a teacher, so he knows what it's like to be a mentor. He knows what it's like to teach. He knows what it's like to shepherd somebody along. And that's what I always love about Harry is he's very down to earth. He's just a great down to earth person who does have a genuine interest. I've asked Harry to do other things. This isn't the first thing I've asked Harry to do. He came out for a parade that we did on the west side where we actually gave book bags out to kids, and it takes time out of his schedule. Right now he's filming Chirac, which I don't know if I said that right. Is it Chirac? Chirac, sorry. Chirac, which Spike Lee is directing, but perhaps you saw him in Ray, or perhaps you saw him in Man of Steel, or perhaps you saw him in State of Affairs, or perhaps you saw him in one of many movies, including The Package, which was one of my favorites that he did with Gene Hackman, and from what I understand, it was one of your first films, or first movie. And Harry became good friends with a mutual friend, and that's how I got to know Harry Juan Ramirez, who's also a terrific actor as well. So without further ado, let's give Harry a nice ICB welcome.
Distinguished faculty and family and friends of the class of 2015, allow me to express my great and humble gratitude to you for the invitation to speak with you on this enchanted occasion, and more importantly, to thank you for helping to shape and support both materially and spiritually the best and brightest hopes for our collective future. These, the graduates of the Ohio and Illinois Centers for Broadcasting, Lombard campus. My especial gratitude goes out to Bill Natale, my friend of many years, who issued this invitation to me and who is today celebrating his last commencement with this august institution. I am honored to be making this address. There are a great many things I would like to share with you today, among the which are some words of encouragement and praise for the thrilling and unknowable present. In most commencements, a speaker will go on at some length about the bright futures you have ahead of you. This we shall explore in these brief remarks quite soon. It strikes me, however, that first we must get through this most curious and uncertain present, a feat that I am encouraged we may pull off with you promising graduates now on the team, but a feat of some difficulty nonetheless. Being more current than I, it may not strike you that I am frequently puzzled into the spirit of these times. Still, in spite of the many things I would like to explore with you today, I declare first, in the words of Adam Powell, that I will try to keep my remarks down. Nonetheless, I shall try to fashion them like a woman's skirt, long enough to be respectable, but short enough to be interesting. Now let's dive into this present. For you graduating today, June 19, 2015, you may now breathe a sigh of relief. As you exhale, know that the next breath you take in, the next time you inspire, one of the most notable accomplishments of your life is a fait accompli. You did it. Yet again, if you're anything like I was at my graduation, you must now be thinking to yourself, I fooled them again. How did I get away with it? Don't they see what a mistake they've made? And of course, that little nagging voice in the corner of your heart, the one that sounds a little bit like your mother, and that is terrified as to how you might eke out a career in your chosen profession. After all, unless you go on from here to obtain more degrees, you won't have the excuse of being in school anymore to rely on when you face the blank page of your future. The good news is that you've studied at the hands of working professionals who will probably be the first to tell you that the best way to learn in this industry is to get your feet wet and your hands dirty. I can tell you that, like me, you will sometimes falter in your early attempts, but that it is through these disappointments that you will be shaped, sharpened, and refined into instruments of inevitable triumph. I must also say that you are now as qualified as you can possibly ever be, because the technologies and techniques that you have mastered here after spending your hard-earned money will be obsolete in a few short years anyway. According to Moore's law, that estimate is somewhat too long. For those of you who long to be in front of the camera, you might take solace in the fact that your job will largely consist of your ability to adapt and be flexible to unforeseeable events. How can one prepare to cover world-changing events, after all? No amount of preparation would have enabled Walter Cronkite to more dispassionately convey the news of the death of President Kennedy. No instructor, no matter how seasoned, can teach you to compartmentalize a producer screaming into your ear prompter while grappling with the ponderous emotional weight of a building collapsing before your very eyes as you are being broadcast live into thousands of homes. Only direct experience can do that. Very probably, you've yet to be quizzed on wrestling with the paradox of secretly wishing to be in the center of a very big news story that involves tragic consequences because it might make you a star. Yet such are the ironies of this field of endeavor, a field we generally refer to as communications. As an actor in this space, I can tell you a little bit about the twisted reality of always being an observer of humanity. There was a very early morning several years ago when I observed a woman who did not know she was being observed by me. The fire department had been dispatched to look for her missing child. As they left her to begin the search, in those otherwise private and vulnerable seconds, the woman wrapped her arms around her stomach and bent over. I felt like an interloper because I was, but it would have been shirking my duty as an actor not to study her behavior, I think. I almost felt the sickening void she must have felt in her womb. And some few moments later, the knot in my gut eased along with hers as the firemen reunited her with her precious child. That is the essence of this life. Even when we are directly affected by life and death, at funerals, weddings, triumph and tragedy, I am ever the observer, as you will be, even while participating. The benefit of your course of study lies in the fact that you have learned the rules of engagement. In your professional capacity, your duty must always be to chronicle the effects of, and never to be the cause of, the events you are capturing for your audience. It is precisely here where your training will kick in. The foundational ethical and professional principles that you have further developed at the Center for Broadcasting will endure even in the face of ever-evolving or devolving mechanical and digital systems. No matter the inevitability of change, in our vocation, ethics remain constant. And so, as one professional to another, welcome to the ranks. Your specialized duties will be to help people to contextualize what you are communicating to them in their own lives. In essence, at the base of broadcasting lies the transfer of information from one person to another. No matter how many people on the macro level may be within your sphere, no two people will ever receive the information or entertainment you provide to them in the same manner. You shall always walk the fine line between intrapersonal and interpersonal. That is the deliciously ironic descriptions of your job assignment. To break down this assignment even further, it is your responsibility to convey ideas, feelings, information, and ultimately to the burden of imprinting for all time the very experience of being alive in this time from your perception into another person's. Thusly, I urgently need to express to you the imperative that you always serve humanity. Graduates, I'm aware that this may sound trite. After all, first things first. In order to serve anything to anyone, you must first have a job. I'm quick to counsel young and unsuspecting actors that we do not make our living in show talent or show fairness or show character, but rather show business. Without the means to pay for our passion, we are like ships in a storm tossed about at sea, characters waiting to be put into a story. Without someone to patronize our labor, we are mere amateurs or hobbyists in the truest sense, people performing for the pure joy of it. Perhaps I can illustrate this a little better by giving you a bit of insight into what I am thinking now in my life, leaving out the time 30-some years ago when I was sitting in a seat and waiting for some talking head to reveal to me the big secrets of the new life I was about to embark upon, wondering, now what? I can't discuss such moments as a product of the past, because as soon as I finish these remarks and take my seat, I shall be sitting in a chair in some bar and wondering, now what? I actually have no earthly clue as to what is coming to my life tomorrow or even for the rest of the day, except that, Lord willing, I will wake up and try to get something done tomorrow that I could not, would not do today. If, God willing, I am in my rational mind when I ponder said course of action, I will seriously consider whether what I do today or tomorrow would, at least for me and those people that I love, help matters or hurt matters. Then, if I am in my right mind, I will strongly consider taking those actions that help matters. Fortunately, when you are in our field, this process is not an exact science. What remains true for the artists and technicians and soon-to-be talking heads here today is that we will be needing each other in the very near future more than we ever have before, because, as you see, it is a time of great certainty, uncertainty, and great possibility. And it will be you brave communicators here who will determine whether or not we make it to that future. It will be those sitting next to you who will be there with you to determine exactly what kind of future this will be. But you must make sure that these connections now are made before you leave this part of your life behind and get caught up in the minutiae of mere survival. There will always be this temptation of missing the deepest lessons of life at the expense of mere survival. The details of life demand much from us. Indeed, they are quite important, and yet we must always strive to see beyond the details of life into the joy of living. This idea of a joyful life is the purview of the fool and the zealot. The great artist makes a living by the living of life more abundantly, yet we must be careful that we do not accomplish our abundance at the expense of others, hoarding it for ourselves. Indeed, a life of service to others helps us to fulfill the desire of a more abundant life. Let me hasten to point out that a life of providing service to your fellow man can and should be profitable. It should never be compulsory. Freedom is the highest principle of all. But what greater joy is there than making life more meaningful, beautiful, and humane? When we do so, we all profit. Science, management, and even government, in their noblest forms, endeavor to use the tools at their disposal to serve humanity. And we must never allow ourselves to become servants to those tools. Where we humans do not serve God's greatest creation, ourselves, but instead become slaves to mechanical systems and machinery and politics, we find a monster state, a matrix-like dystopia, and then find ourselves in the grip of artificial intelligence. Now, don't be mistaken, we do not fully realize what artificial intelligence really is. There's a far smaller danger in the machine becoming an integrated biological or sentient being than that we humans will continue to become as we cede our humanity over to these machines. Artificial intelligence will happen one day, but it will first be made possible by making our humanity artificial and not by a machine becoming, as it were, one of us. In this regard, I differ from certain other futurists and so forth, but I agree with Pablo Picasso, who said that computers are only important because they can provide us answers and not the questions. Of course, he might have modified his statement if he had seen and used an iPad or a smartphone, but you get my bigger point. Of course, this is a curious thing to be saying to this specific body of graduates from the Illinois Center of Broadcast, about which I have heard a lot from Bill Natale. You are free to explore your potential and capable of achieving incredible results if you dare. The Ohio and Illinois Centers for Broadcasting embodies this can-do spirit, and the honor conferred upon you as you graduate will hopefully embolden you for the rest of your lives and inspire you to remain involved as alumni and supporters of the ideals that were instilled here. There will be obstacles, of course, moments of self-doubt and periods of time when nobody understands your dreams, your visions, and you think that you may just be out of your mind. As you have demonstrated by arriving at this point today, you will have to persevere through such times. As long as you keep living, tough times will continue occasionally and to trouble you. But you will continue to demonstrate the truth behind James Lane Allen's observation that adversity does not build character, it reveals it. You may also take some courage in knowing that others have faced what you are facing. You are not alone. Keep trying, keep living, and stay sharp. I know a little something about survival. Before I even dreamed of being an actor in such movies as The Matrix or Man of Steel, before I had the honor of playing the leading figure in the last play of August Wilson on Broadway, or teaching public school in Chicago, I was born 2 months premature to a 41-year-old woman who would become a widow less than 2 years later. I was an unplanned and rather inconvenient pregnancy. Things got even more complicated when it was discovered that I was born with a hole in my heart. I was not expected to live. My mother wouldn't even see me because she thought I was not long for this world. Now, of course, she won't see me because I am an irritant to her, but I digress. It was touch and go for me in the earliest days of my life, but I decided to fight it out and stay alive. I'm happy I made that great effort as an infant, even if it's only to be here to talk with you today. My fight for survival was assisted by a good deal of fortune, what I like to think of as God's grace. There was a heart specialist who was one of the only 2 people in the country who could operate on me. Even after that, life was touch and go for me. But one day, my mother's mother told her to remove me from the hospital, take me home, and feed me beer, which was the only thing I could digest. This plan worked, as you see, which is the only, not that I'm endorsing any particular brand, but I think she gave me slits. So I grew up a little drunk as a result of the actions of a widow who has worked every day of her life to keep us the best that she could keep us, working as a laundress in a rectory, a babysitter, a laborer, a housekeeper, any other work she could find. Fate has been kind to me. I had brothers, a mother, a sister, friends, priests, nuns, bums and winos, wise men, heroes, martyrs, and a few good enemies in a pretty tough neighborhood. A neighborhood called South Shore, but now known as Terror Town, where enemies abound. Enemies like gangs and drugs and violence. But that neighborhood is still alive, and the people who populate it are of me. And like you and me, they can and will persevere in spite of the difficulties. But here's another point. Even difficulties can be used as a tool to make you work harder. Tools can either be good or bad depending on who's using them, and even negatives serve their functions. Enemies sometimes tell you more truth than your friends, and it is good to understand different versions of the truth. It is good to hear opinions that are different from your own. I decided to become a priest as a young man, but I left the seminary one day, left a safe place, and decided to join the real world. There was a girl, you see, with whom I was in love. Love has that power to take you out of your comfort zone. It inspires you to perhaps even foolish courage, and courage falls just under freedom in ultimate importance. Even though that love affair never happened, in being courageous, I was able to get the benefits. I went to a different school, acquired information and skills, and the know-how to use to communicate information. After graduation, I became a teacher in the most violent neighborhood in the nation. I was lucky to have the respect of the students because I respected them. Respect is a good thing. It comes from the Latin word respectare, which means to look again, to re-examine the person before you discount them with your words, your actions, or your lack of action. So today I exhort you to continue your brave path. Keep looking for ways to contribute and to create. In your labor and love, keep looking for beauty in life, and keep looking for ways to make your machine or system an art in itself. You clearly have the character, you clearly have the courage, and all that remains is the will to make it so. Willpower is all, especially when it includes joy. Rejoice always, as Paul the apostle tells us, and again I say rejoice. My last thing to say is this: if you were ever in a place where to be appropriate you must modify or dampen your absolute love or your joy or your expressions of courage, trust me, you are in the wrong place. When you are at a party or a wedding or even a funeral where life is being celebrated and joy is being loved and peace of mind fills you to excess, then you are most definitely in the right place. I wish for you no less than the very best day up to this day shall be the least day in your years to come. Thank you for your attention and hospitality. I'll be looking for an opportunity to work with you in the very near future, and I pray that you will be those making the possibilities for advancement available to all of us to live that abundant life. Never ever give in to anything less than complete liberty and courageous, foolish love of life. May God bless you and keep you all the days of your completely successful lives.
thank Harry for taking the time to, sit down and put those thoughts together. It's 10 pages, I know, because I printed it. But I think I needn't say anything more about the message that he's imparted to you. Please take it and keep it in the back of your mind, keep it in your heart, and move from there. I'm going to ask, now that we move on, I'm going to ask Kim Lucatorto, our education director, to come up and carry on. Thanks.
Wow, how do I follow that? I have an idea. Let's give out some awards. All right. First, though, I would like to introduce you guys to one of our graduates who arrived a little late. And I'd like to ask her to come and sit up with her fellow graduates. I think there's a seat next to McKinley over there. And I'd like for us to give a round of applause to Crystal Archie, please. Crystal knew she was going to be late because she couldn't get out of work on time, and she said, please don't hold up the ceremony for me. I'll just slip in when I get there, so thanks, Crystal. Are you going to help out? Okay, sure. I would like to say that we do require a lot of our students when they're here, and one of the things that every student is asked to do, in addition to coming to school 3 days a week for 4 hours at a time, is to also put in extra studio hours or lab hours. That's a compilation of time that they put into learning their craft, participating in broadcast activities, going to guest speakers, going out on remotes, and also going and doing their internships. And internships is something that every single one of our students is required to have as well. So they put in a lot of extra time outside of class. As a matter of fact, they have to put in 308 hours, and every single one of them knows how many hours that was because they all put it in, and some of them put in a whole lot more. And so the first award today is going to be for the student who had the highest amount of studio internship hours, and I would like to say that was 642 hours put in by Ms. Crystal Archie. Come on up, Crystal. Congratulations. Congratulations. I'm so glad she made it in time. The second award goes to two students. These are students who actually achieved outstanding attendance in the program. The students come here for a whole year's time. It totals out to almost 150 classes that they have to be here in school. And that's really hard for a lot of them to make every single day because many of them have other obligations in their life, as we all do. So when we have somebody who's able to achieve a really great outcome there, we like to give out the Outstanding Attendance Award. And this class actually has these two winners who tied with only 3 absences each. I'd like to bring up first Anthony Garnello and then Rosalinda Manrique. Congratulations, everybody. Congratulations. Here, why don't we do one picture with everybody, and then we can do it separate. Is that okay? All right. Can we just do one separate for each of them? Okay. Come on over here, Rosie. No, come on. Sorry, here. There we go. All right. Congratulations. Okay. Now, I mentioned that one of the things that all of our students have to do is have an internship. So that involves actually their first broadcasting job search because we make them go out and get these internships themselves. We prepare them, they get their skills here, we prepare them how to, apply for the internship, do their resumes, cover letters, look for the internships, go on the interviews and all that, but it's really up to them as individuals to go out and get those internships. And every single student in this class had really great internships, and they all are winners in my book. But there's one student who wound up sticking out over and above everyone else. And that's, I'm going to read a couple of comments that were made by this person's internship supervisor. This person had outstanding enthusiasm, was especially mature in judgment, was completely dependable, did an excellent quality of work, learned very quickly, had excellent verbal expression, and was a great asset to the company. Such a great asset that they offered her a job at Judge Mathis. Valerie Mena, come on up. There you go. Congratulations. Congratulations. The final two awards are super, super special because they're voted on by their peers. We have in this class one award for the outstanding male broadcasting student and one for the outstanding female broadcasting student. Ladies first, how about that? The students all voted on this earlier this week, and I would like to congratulate this person because the students said that this woman was hardworking, here every day, a great listener, team player, and very motivated, always friendly and got along with everyone, and got involved with all the projects. And I'd like to congratulate the female outstanding broadcasting student for June days, Rosalinda Manrique. Actually, the entire time she's been here, I've been calling her Rosa, but. Okay, now let's move on to the outstanding male broadcasting student. This young man has earned these comments from his peers. He's always been a team leader and took control. He's hardworking and easy to get along with. He brings a diversity of skills to the broadcasting field. He's extremely committed to his craft. He's knowledgeable, helpful, and creative. Any ideas who it is? Well, I'm going to tell you. Robert Tatka, come on down. Congratulations, everyone. Those are the awards, but I would just like to add my congratulations to everyone. You all deserve all the best in your future careers in broadcasting. Please don't be, strangers around here. Come on by and stop by. Let us know what's going on in your life. Thank you.
Okay, the part that everyone is really here and waiting for is their diploma, to get it. And that diploma is a ticket to you moving forward and using that certification, if you can, in job placement. I'll just give you an idea. I just got a call from the news director at WTVO, WQRB, asking about a grad, and asking subjective questions that I was able to say, oh, wonderful things about, and then a few objective questions that dealt with things like attendance and things like that. That reality I've got to be very truthful on. But I think it's great that we've got people calling us and asking about our grads, saying our grad, and they've got an Illinois Center for Broadcasting degree. So it's really great to know that 4 of our graduates worked on the White Sox opener. One of our graduates, Steve Spurlock, worked on all the Blackhawks, not just as a camera operator. He was the actual vice president in charge of production for all the playoffs. So we've got some, great stories to tell, and we've got some graduates out there who are doing great work. But as I tell everybody, you have to start somewhere and you move up. I myself started at a little radio station called WSBC, which actually was the sister station to a station that still wasn't very well known at that time, WXRT. Everybody knows WXRT today. So, but you take those opportunities and you make the most of them and you keep moving up. And that's the attitude. Anyway, without further ado, we're going to be awarding these diplomas. So.
Oh, there's my sheet. Okay. We're good.
All right, our first graduate, please come up for your diploma. Crystal Archie. Next up, Ryan Cole. Salvador Crescino, also known as Mooch. Amy Dela Cruz. Angel Delgado. Alicia Fonseca. Anthony Garnello. Kishanda Havard. Christopher Cochoco. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Bunch of characters. Ashley Krause. Rosalinda Manrique. Valerie Mena. Jacob No. McKinley Pierce. Robert Tatka. Jeremy Wingle. And last but not least, Walter Wicks. Okay, parents and friends, just so you know, the photos that we've been taking will be posted on our Facebook page. Should be able to get those copies of those. Okay, so just to conclude, I'm going to bring back up Mr. Bill Natale.
I just want to recognize our staff who work really, really hard to help the students attain their goals and their dreams. So I'm going to start from the left. Tavares Porter, stand up, Tavares. Krista Garza, Krista. Carl Jackson, our Career Services Director. Sarah McWilliams. Nicole Calgano. Emily Petty, take a bow. And of course, without her help, I know a lot of you probably wouldn't be here today in terms of as a graduate. Kim Lucatordo. Okay. I also want to recognize a few other people. Scott Grenke's in the back, one of our favorite instructors. Whenever I mention his name, he always gets a good round of applause. We've got here also a few grad assistants that are helping us out today. And I don't want to forget Peter Ferrari as well, back on the TriCaster. Peter has made it possible for a lot of you in sports to go out for remote broadcasting. He's out there every weekend, and I just can't say enough good things about Peter because he really puts his heart into this, as do all the staff members. But I mean, there's a lot of time spent on the weekends where he's out. Okay, Brian, take a bow. One of our cameramen, Brian Singelman, and Kayla. Kayla is on the other camera. Okay. So I want to recognize the staff because they really do work hard. I mean, we've got a small staff here, along with our instructors, of course, but I mean, they really work hard, and it pays off. I mean, I see it in the graduates. And of course, I want to thank Harry Lennix for taking the time to come out and give a great commencement speech. I spent time with all of you. And last but not least, don't forget to watch The Blacklist on NBC, okay? That's it. We're concluded. Congratulations, grads.